Welcome to PupSchool by the online dog trainer, where we share the most beautiful and profound truths about the dogs we love if you've ever had a hard day. And somehow, your dog just knew if you've ever felt like no one saw you. But your dog came close and stayed. Then this video is for you, because today we're going to talk about something very real. Something that can't be trained or taught. Something that lives quietly in the hearts of certain dogs. They are the ones who heal us, without saying a word. They are the healing dogs. Part 1. They show up when you need them most. Not every dog is born with the gift of healing, but when one enters your life, you feel it, without needing to explain. They don't come with loud barks or excited jumps. They come quietly during the moments when the noise inside you is louder than anything around you. They sit beside you when your words run out. They rest near you when your strength disappears. They don't ask you to be okay. They just stay healing. Dogs don't rush to fix. They wait. And in that waiting, there is love. They read your energy more than your face. They feel the weight in your silence and the shift in your breath. And somehow they know today you need stillness, not play today. You need presence, not advice, and they give it without hesitation. They don't know what happened or why you feel the way you do, but they choose to be near anyway, not to change you, but to remind you that you are not alone. And that is where healing begins. Part 2. Small gestures that mean everything. Healing dogs don't always make grand gestures. Sometimes what they do seems so small, you might miss it, but those little things carry the most meaning. Maybe they come, lie at your feet when you sit alone. Maybe they gently nudge your hand when you haven't moved for hours. Or maybe they curl up, just close enough so you feel their warmth without needing to ask for it. These are not random habits. They are choices, acts of care and connection, done without words. You may notice they never ask for anything in return. They don't need your smile or praise. They don't look for a treat. They're just there, steady and still, not to distract you from your pain, but to sit with it, as if saying, "I'm not afraid of your sadness. I will sit with you through it all." And the more they do this, the more you begin to breathe again, you begin to feel again. And somewhere deep inside, you start to believe that healing is possible because they believed it first. Part 3. The science behind healing dogs. Science has begun to explain what many dog lovers have always known. Some dogs can heal us in ways we can't explain. Studies show that dogs are able to detect changes in our body chemistry. They sense when our stress hormone cortisol rises. They notice subtle shifts in our scent, our breathing, our posture, even before we're fully aware of it ourselves. They are attuned to patterns we don't consciously express, and they respond not with logic but with care. Research has shown that simply petting a dog can lower heart rate and blood pressure, and increase levels of oxytocin, the hormone that helps us feel calm and connected. This is the same hormone released between mothers and children, between those who trust and feel safe. Healing dogs trigger this, not because we ask them to, but because they choose to be near. When it matters most, they don't just sense pain. They lean into it, not to solve it, but to carry some of it with us. And that's what makes the science so powerful. It confirms what the heart already knows. Some dogs were made to heal. Part 4. When life falls apart. They're the warmest place. Left. There are moments in life when everything feels too heavy, when the world becomes quiet, not in peace but in emptiness, when your body is present, but your spirit is somewhere far away in those moments. Healing dogs don't try to pull you out. They don't try to fix the silence. They simply lie down beside it. They rest a paw on your chest, or lay their head across your legs as if to say, I don't need you to smile. I just need you to breathe. Some people say their dog saved them, and they don't mean it as a phrase, they mean it literally. On the days when getting up felt impossible, their dog showed up in the only way that mattered, through presence, through warmth, through wordless devotion. And somehow that was enough not to solve everything, but to remind them that they mattered, that they were still seen, still loved, still needed. And when nothing else could reach them, their dog did by simply being there. Part 5. No training needed only. Love-healing dogs are not created through training. They don't learn it from a manual or a set of commands. They simply feel, and they act from love. Some of them have lived through hard things themselves. They have been abandoned or hurt or forgotten. And yet somehow they still choose to offer comfort. They carry their own pain quietly and use it not as a wall, but as a bridge to yours. They don't need to understand your story to stay with you through it. They are often the ones who come close without being called, who sense your breath changing in the next room, who wake up from sleep just to lay a paw on your hand. They do not ask if you are okay. They do not ask for anything at all. They just love you, and in that love they offer the one thing most people forget how to give, which is presence without pressure, space without judgment, love without condition. And when they do this, something inside you softens again, not because they forced it, but because they made you feel safe enough to let it happen. Part 6. They know when to come closer and when to step back. A healing dog doesn't just know how to come close, they also know when not to. Some days you need comfort, other days you need space, and somehow they always seem to know the difference. When you cry, they don't leave the room. They walk over slowly, gently, quietly, and they stay when you're upset or overwhelmed. They often keep their distance, not because they're afraid, but because they understand that your energy needs room to settle. This is not obedience. This is emotional intelligence. It's the kind of awareness that comes not from words, but from watching, from feeling, from loving, without trying to control. They notice how long you look at the floor, how quickly your breathing changes, how much you've withdrawn from your own world. And they adjust, not with fear, not with confusion, but with care. Sometimes their greatest gift is not in what they do, but in what they choose not to do. They don't push, they don't insist, they wait. And in that waiting, they give you something few ever do, the space to be fully human and still fully loved. Part 7. Healing dogs in medicine and mental health. In recent years, science has begun to recognize what dog lovers have always known, that some dogs have the power to heal, not just the heart, but the mind and body too. Therapy dogs are now welcomed into hospitals, nursing homes, schools, and even courtrooms because their presence lowers stress, reduces blood pressure, eases anxiety, and helps people feel seen in moments when they feel invisible. But the truth is, healing dogs didn't wait for science to prove their worth. Long before anyone gave them a title or role, they were already doing this work quietly in our homes, sitting beside children during sleepless nights, resting near the feet of those battling depression, or walking gently beside people grieving something they cannot name. They don't offer solutions. They offer something more sacred. They offer stability in a moment that feels unstable. They offer connection in a world that often feels disconnected. They may never understand the medical terms, but they understand emotion. They understand silence. They understand when you're scared, and they offer you the one thing no medicine can touch: the feeling that you are not alone. And that is often where healing truly begins. Part 8. The dogs that arrive at the right time. There are times in life when everything feels like too much, when nothing seems to make sense, and the world becomes too loud or too quiet in all the wrong ways. And then a dog appears, not just any dog, but one that seems to know exactly what you need before you know it yourself. They don't arrive with noise or big gestures. They arrive with quiet timing and the kind of presence that feels like home. Some people say they didn't choose their healing dog, that the dog somehow chose them. Maybe it was a rescue, maybe it was a gift, maybe it showed up when their heart was barely holding together, and instead of fixing the broken pieces, it simply stayed beside them while they found the courage to breathe again. These dogs don't come to change your life with drama. They come to walk with you through the mess, without needing answers, without offering advice. And when they do, you start to believe again in timing and grace, in the idea that sometimes love shows up, not to save you but to remind you that you were never really alone. Part 9. They're healing you every day, even if you don't realize it. Healing doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet, gentle, and easy to miss. And that's exactly how many dogs heal us. They don't come with grand gestures. They come with routines, with soft touches, with silent loyalty. You might think they're just lying beside you, doing nothing, but they're watching, listening, adjusting themselves to your energy without asking for anything in return. Maybe they follow you from room to room, not because they're needy, but because they know you feel alone. Maybe they rest their head on your knee during dinner, not for food, but because you've been quiet too long. Maybe they wake up when you stir in the night, not because they're restless, but because they heard the sadness in your breath. Dogs like this don't need to understand your story. They just need to know you're there, and they will show up for you every single time. And you might never call it healing, but one day you'll look back and realize that the calm, the safety, the strength you slowly rebuilt was never done alone. They were beside you for all of it, silently helping you carry the weight. Part 10. Acts of Trust and Love. Sometimes healing doesn't come from silence or stillness. Sometimes it comes from the little acts of love that only a dog can give. Maybe your dog brings you a toy, not because they want to play, but because they want to see you smile. Maybe they nudge your hand, not to be pet, but to remind you that you are still here, still connected, still needed. Maybe they stretch in front of you the moment you walk in, not out of habit, but as a way of saying, "Welcome back, I missed you, I'm glad you're safe." These small moments are not just behaviors. They are acts of trust, of emotional honesty, of a bond built from days and nights of presence and care. When your dog lies on their back and shows you their belly, they are giving you their most vulnerable self when they press their forehead gently into yours. They are offering connection deeper than words. Dogs like this don't need to prove their love. They just give it over and over until your heart remembers how to feel it again. And maybe that's what healing really is. Not something loud or fast, but something faithful. Something that stays. Something that loves you patiently until you learn to love yourself again. Closing. Healing dogs don't save you. They stay while you save yourself. Healing dogs don't come into your life to rescue you. They come to walk beside you while you rescue yourself. They don't bring answers. They bring presence. They don't promise to take away the pain, but they promise you won't carry it alone. They sit with you when no one else knows how to. They follow you into your silence and stay there without needing to fill it. They don't rush you. They don't fix you. They just love you exactly as you are. If you've ever had a dog like this, hold them close, not just with your hands, but with your heart. And if you've never had one, maybe one day you will. And when you do, you'll understand that healing doesn't always look like a cure. Sometimes it looks like a paw on your chest, a quiet sigh in the middle of the night, a head resting gently on your knee, and a soul who chooses to stay even when the world walks away. And if this message touched something deep in you, please subscribe to PupSchool by the online dog trainer, where every week we explore the emotional world of dogs and the quiet miracles they bring into our lives.